Nerdrotic.com.
Benny, when did you start like becoming aware of like what was going on here on this kind of side of YouTube?
4 years ago. So I mentioned the fandom menace in an interview with Dave Rubin in 2018 because I was watching Nerdrotic's channel. And I started with Critical Drinker. That was just surfaced to my YouTube feed. And I was like, oh my God, this guy absolutely hits. And then I'm like, wait, he's shouting out this Nerdrotic guy. Okay, Nerdrotic, this guy fucks. And this guy. And it was really neat. It's what's the right way to say this? It's great to see a equal but totally harmonious, different take on something you don't do, because we talk about politics all day. And, you know, I'm a political commentator. We have a show on Newsmax. We have shows on Turning Point USA. We have our own channels, and we do a podcast every day called The Benny Show. And it's like all we talk about is politics, but with like a tinge of culture. And these guys talk about culture with a very slight tinge of politics. Yeah. And then to see the red pilling and black pilling of the various creators, it's wild. And it's been really exciting to follow your, I think, crowning crescendo achievement moment. My favorite video is the I'm Leaving San Francisco video, where you almost did a political video. It was my first time where I was like, man, Gary's doing like a video that I would do, right? It'd be like a script that I would read. And it was about the effect of politics and the inception point where politics is culture. And this is what we were talking about before we went live, is that politics is culture. No, culture is politics. All of it is harmonious, and culture is actually upstream. Politics is downstream of culture. And so a lot of times people forget that what happens in Hollywood and the messages and the stories we tell ourselves ends up becoming politics. Have you spent any time in the Senate? Have you spent any time in the House? Any time with an elected official? These people know nothing. They're followers. They're weak. They're linguini-spined, sad, miserable, soulless, heartless people. They're not creating anything. They're being told what to do. All of them. The vast majority of them are just being told what to do and what to think. And so who's doing the telling? And that's why I loved channels like this, because these guys were affecting, in this community, of course, here, and everyone out here. And then got into Geeks+Gamers, then RK Outpost. And it's been so amazing to see the structure and the power of this community, because for what I do for a living, it is, I believe, far more important to affect the culture side of it, because it would make my job a lot easier if the empty vessels, that the lurches that are the politicians, get told by culture that, yes, it's okay to love America. Yes, it's okay to have a strong border. Yes, it's okay to say there are two genders. Yes, it's okay to have a strong dollar and to protect America and want to repatriate American jobs. It's a good thing to want Americans to be happy and to be proud of your culture and to be proud to be a man and to be a masculine man. It'd be a good thing to be a father. It's an effing awesome thing to be parents and raise your children and have functional human children who are proud of themselves and their heritage. And yes, your skin color is just the amount of melanin that your ancestors had 1,000 years ago, based on where they lived in relation to the equator. Yeah. And it really shouldn't matter that much. It shouldn't be like the thing that defines you forever. I mean, it'd be nice to have culture that tells us that. It's one thing to have a politician standing there and yelling that at you. It's a totally different thing to have a piece of art tell you that.
We are getting the inverse of that right now from Hollywood, from the entertainment industry. Like everything that is coming out from there is meant to subvert those kind of traditional values that a lot of people hold, which is why it's important to speak out about all of this stuff. And you're right, it is different. What we talk about day to day is different, but there's overlap in terms of the types of people who are pushing certain things on everybody.
There's a reason that one side wants everything censored and silenced, and the other side is like, we don't give a fuck what you say, just don't push it onto us. You can have your opinions, because I believe in my opinions that I don't need to silence your opinion, because I know that common sense is going to look at the things that I generally believe and go, yeah, that's right. Yeah, all the things that Benny just said, common sense people are just going to go look at that and go, yeah, that makes sense. But the other side wants all of those opinions that Benny just said completely silenced. Why do they want them silenced? Because common sense is going to look at that and they're all going to sway that way. But what we see constantly is that the conservative side, a lot of times they don't understand the importance of the entertainment world. They don't understand the importance of gaming culture. And I've talked about this many times. There's a reason that idiots like AOC are always have been hanging out with Twitch streamers. And suddenly these young impressionable minds are seeing, oh, AOC's on with my favorite Twitch streamer.
Yep.
Oh, I want to support her. I'm going to support everything because they don't actually know what she's talking about. All they know is that she was cool and she was hanging out with the gamers. And
neither does she.
No, neither does she.
Right.
And so conservatives tend to look down upon geek and gaming culture and be disrespectful.
Why do you think
towards
I
that.
came over?
Exactly.
The same mentality.
Yes.
So I tweeted out the video of Gary saying why he says Miles Morales is Miles Morales. It's because people will put whatever hate they want to put onto that factual statement. So I came from Louder with Crowder, right? So a side of just politics, kind of like you, Benny, right? So I've got a lot of people that are just straight politics followers, and then people that are more pop culture because I've kind of cultivated that because that's something I'm into. So whenever I posted that, people saying, well, look at this grown man talking about toys and child's play. It's not child's play to the people that want to subvert culture, because culture, they realize culture is important. Just what you were saying.
Well, culture
They
is how you
realized
control
that. They
people.
targeted it. So that's what happened. Like on the right, there's so many people that do not understand that. I've tried to tell them like years, like, hey, we need to start talking about these things. Yeah, sure, it's Star Wars that's getting subverted. It's Doctor Who, it's Star Trek, it's stupid little kid stuff to you, but it's really shaping the way culture is seen and what is acceptable. Like you guys remember, I did an interview with both of you in 2019 in New York, whenever we went to New York City Comic-Con.
Yep.
That never got aired because it wasn't deemed important enough, because they were talking about whatever else stupid things were going on at the time instead of what is going on.
Instead of the
Instead
Antifa
of what
panel
is- yeah,
that
the
we
Antifa
covered
panel
at
that
New York
we
Comic
covered.
Con.
Well, what I makes this, thing really bizarre when I hear it, when people try and dismiss it as saying it's just kid stuff. Well, hang on.
Yeah.
You do realize those kids are going to be the next generation, all right? And what they're getting influenced by
Yeah,
is
it's
going to be the thing
indoctrination.
that they're going to try and espouse. And also, so the adults that still love this, all the nerd culture and everything like that, well, if they know where the good stuff is, where the good comic books and also the classics, stuff, guess what we're trying to introduce to our kids? I've been trying to get my kids into really classic stories, Lord of the Rings, Jackson Trilogy, or showing them He-Man and all that stuff, because I want them to have, well, basically the universal morals that were once just flooded in media, where masculinity, right? Be a hero, be a Chad, be a dude, right? Also, it's so interesting. My wife and I were talking about what my daughter is reading at the moment, The Babysitter's Club, and like things where stuff that girls like, things that boys like, and those are influential, and it's up to the parents to try and guide the kids into finding those things. But the mainstream hates those stuff. They hate what was once universally accepted as truths, and things that were fundamental for people. And so they've been subverting it with all this new crap. We've been seeing it in Star Wars and a lot of kids' entertainment. Look what they did with the She-Ra reboot and all that. And so we can rely on the old stuff, and we can also make new stuff, and that's where we'll get some headway into it.
And you're doing a
It's
damn
all
good job of
about
that right
that.
now.
Yep.
That's right.
I do think
That's
it's
right.
funny. I do think it's funny because I take offense to some motherfucker conservative ass talking shit about Gary and just a guy.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, that's the dude that just brought Amazon to their knees over the Lord of the Rings, okay? That's the dude that just crushed them. That's the guy that crushed every single Lord of the Rings shield channel out there and has just destroyed everything that Amazon was trying to do and spoke for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people through that entire situation. That's who that dude that you claim is sitting around toys is doing, making a massively important impact on the culture that's going on right now. And that's what I think our job is to continue to always call out the woke losers out there, but we got to make a shift on how the perception is of the entertainment world, the video game world, and all of that, because you cannot be disrespectful to that, because right now too much is at stake right now. And you got to understand it's bigger than you, your individual opinions or anything like that. You've got to start thinking beyond what's right in front of you. And the days of just going, oh, I'm cool because I fuck bitches and watch sports, fuck video games, those days are done. And if you're going to keep
you can
doing
do all
that,
three.
you can do
Yeah.
all three. You can do all three.
Yeah.
And I promise you, gamers are getting theirs as well. But we got to shift that around. And I'm glad that we got people like Benny.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.